turn both of you into scrap with my latest and greatest invention!
Final target confirmed. Commencing combat.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 worst Sonic games.
Sonic, come back. To me. To us.
For this list, we're taking a look at the most rotten, foul, broken, and uninspiring games starring the blue blur, Sonic the Hedgehog. If you played any of these games and love them, more power to you. They can all be enjoyable to some degree, but compared to the rest, these weren't exactly the best. Did any of these make you facepalm? Discuss with us in a civil manner in the comments below.
Ouch! Yeah!
Number 20, Team Sonic Racing. Sonic isn't really new to the kart racing game, having debuted with his own kart racer in 1994 before the Sega All-Stars games in 2010 and 2012. That said, the blueprints for an excellent Sonic kart racer have been laid out for decades now, so why try to reinvent the wheel with Team Sonic Racing? Sure, the team-based mechanics are an excellent idea and make for great multiplayer fun, but not so much for solo players. The campaign is a huge undertaking to complete solo on account of the demanding requirements for top score. As for the tracks, a handful of them were recycled from previous Sonic racing games. Honestly, we would have preferred to see a new Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Number 19, Sonic Adventure, HD version.
Oh yeah! This is happening!
Hold your horses, we aren't talking about Sonic Adventure as in the entire game. We're pointing our fingers at the 2010 HD port for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. This version of the Dreamcast Classic was more focused on printing money instead of improving and modernizing its flaws.
Oh no, the Chaos Emerald!
Oh no, you don't!
Oh jeez!
The controls weren't as responsive or tight as they could have been, and the HD resolution could not be fully enjoyed as it was restricted to a 4:3 screen ratio. On top of that, the DX version of the game was delegated to paid downloadable content. These same problems would persist in the HD ports for Sonic Adventure 2, and yes, they sold the Battle expansion as separate paid DLC.
Something bugging you? No time for games, Sonic! Give me the emeralds you have, right now!
Number 18, Tails Sky Patrol. As we'll see throughout the list, Sega got a little carried away with the spin-offs in the mid-90s. In addition to his own platformer and edutainment game, Tails was given a side-scrolling shooter, and it's arguably the worst of his spin-offs. The gameplay is mundane and offers no real interesting mechanics or ideas. Even when looking at it under the lens of standard side-scroller shooter, it's way too short to recommend, lasting only about 15 or 20 minutes. Had it been a little tougher, maybe we'd say give it a shot. Alas, it has faded into obscurity. Number 17, Sonic R.
Ready, set, go!
After dipping Sonic's feet into kart racers in 1994 and 1995, this was such a confusing left turn. Sure, a racing game where Sonic and friends are on foot sounds fun and makes sense, and the secrets give you reasons to explore the tracks and look for shortcuts. Problem is that Sonic is all about going fast. No time to slow down. Sonic R's abysmal controls hinder you from wanting to go fast, punishing you with excessive drift, tight turns, and an occasionally confusing track layout. At least the soundtrack was a bop. Everybody's supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. Number 16, Shadow the Hedgehog.
What?
I didn't collect them to hand them over to you. I collected them to destroy you.
We'd be the first to admit that we played Shadow the Hedgehog more times than we would like to admit. Come on, it's basically a 3D Sonic game with angst, guns, and swearing. It's too ridiculous to not want to play it. However, what gets the Ultimate Lifeforms game on this list are the forgettable environments and sometimes arduous goals forced upon by characters.
Enough of this nonsense. The Chaos Emeralds belong to me.
The controls make it especially grueling with lack of proper aiming, and Shadow's tendency to slide around like he's skating on oil the entire time. For a guilty pleasure game, it can be enjoyable, but don't expect anything better than other Sonic games.
Now, I know what I have to do.
Number 15, Sonic and the Black Knight. The Sonic Storybook series had some potential with its concept of spin-offs with different themes. Sonic and the Black Knight had a neat idea with its medieval fantasy themes, turning Sonic's friends into various characters from the tales of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Unfortunately, the gameplay brings it all down. Once again, going too fast will punish you by throwing hordes of enemies in front of you when you least expect it. As for the side missions, none of them are compelling enough to make them feel remotely satisfying. We can recognize why some fans might like it, but as a Sonic game, we'd rather go replay Sonic and the Secret Rings. Number 14, Sonic Rivals 2.
Well, look who it is, Knuckles and Rouge. You two on a date or something?
Knock it off, Sonic. By the way, have you seen Eggman?
Sonic's life on the PSP was kind of a quiet one. Another on-foot racing game, Sonic Rivals blended classic Sonic gameplay with ideas from Sonic Heroes multiplayer and the Blue Blur's kart racers, with players using power-ups to speed ahead or slow their opponents down.
No way!
Can't keep up?
Sadly, the sequel floundered in expanding upon the original's idea. Instead, the AI was made more difficult than it needed to be, the story mode was padded out with fluff, and the balance was questionable at times. It absolutely felt like it was rushed out the door, and the minuscule roster was the first sign.
Still the best! Unbelievable!
Number 13, Sonic Dash 2, Sonic Boom.
Bring it on!
It's almost hard to believe that Sonic Dash has remained popular for roughly a decade now, having launched in 2013. So why else would they try to launch a sequel other than for the potential cash grab? Why, yes, no different than any other endless runner game on the market. It also didn't help that we were all still reeling from the awful taste of the Sonic Boom line, but we'll get to that soon. While the game is still downloadable today, why would you play this when the original Sonic Dash is continuously getting more characters and tracks added? Number 12, Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal.
What's up?
Fighting for my life with the fate of the world in the balance. You know, the usual.
Who's that? Amy?
Don't worry, we'll get to that one soon. But for now, let's talk about Shattered Crystal. Surely this new era of Sonic could find a future on the Nintendo 3DS even if the home console life wasn't shaping up too great. Well, it may not have been worse, but it certainly wasn't any prettier.
Why don't you come here and face me?
Shattered Crystal had its own set of problems, particularly with the writing, slow-paced gameplay, and labyrinthian level design. Tolerable? Not really, and the low sales show that fans weren't standing for its poor quality. At least Fire and Ice was better.
You are so gonna get the big beat down.
Number 11, Sonic the Hedgehog 4, Episode 1 and 2. At the time, a Sonic game with 3D graphics and classic 2D gameplay felt like a rarity, something that's always seemed just out of reach as we kept getting more and more 3D Sonic games. Then the announcement of Sonic 4 came, and it was rough. The music was forgettable, the levels were bland, and the animations lacked any of the Hedgehog's personality. And do we dare mention how horrendously flat the game looked? Sure, Episode 2 improved in a couple of ways, but it wasn't enough to save the episodic series. Number 10, Sonic Schoolhouse.
Hi there, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
The mid-90s saw a lot of games trying to copy Doom, and very few saw enough success to launch their own franchises. As for Sonic's Schoolhouse, well, we gotta wonder what the goal was here. Our favorite hedgehog becomes a chatterbox and sends us into a series of classrooms to find numbers and letters.
Grab the number you think is the right answer
and take it to the blackboard.
Compared to other edutainment games, Sonic's Schoolhouse was tedious. It made school seem more boring than most kids perceive it to be. Couple that with the annoying voice, and it's hard to get any kid to want to play this.
Smart answer. This key will get you through one locked door.
Number 9, Sonic the Fighters. In theory, a fighting game starring Sonic and friends could totally work. Heck, it worked for Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance. Prior to that, though, we had Sonic the Fighters, and it was a fighting game, sure. A fighting game that was questionable in its balancing and oversimplified mechanics. The AI had a habit of employing the same moves over and over again while spamming abilities like Fang's Cork Gun and Bean's explosive arsenal. Final bosses like Eggman and Metal Sonic didn't make the experience any more enjoyable. Regardless, if you liked Sonic or fighting games in general, this was one you could skip out on. Number 8, Sonic Labyrinth. We cannot stress this enough. Sonic is all about speed. Gameplay and levels need to be designed with this in mind. Created in a way that encourages speed runs, beating times, and the like, Sonic Labyrinth goes against this notion entirely. Players must navigate across different mazes while moving at a painfully slow pace. How did Sonic find himself in such a situation? Oh, Robotnik tricks him into wearing different shoes. Yeah, that's the plot. That's the story of this snail of an adventure. Simply put, there's no real fun in Sonic Labyrinth. Just dread. Number 7, Sonic 3D Blast. Unlike Labyrinth, Sonic 3D Blast at least managed to keep the Hedgehog the way he should be. Now, he's not quite as fast, but we thank the stars he's not a slog to control. Even so, 3D Blast was painful in its own way. By keeping the isometric view introduced in Labyrinth, the game still hampers players from wanting to go fast with its tight turns and enemy placement. On top of that, the camera can really mess with your depth perception, causing you to run into an enemy or fall off a ledge. Number 6, Sonic Forces.
Meet our newest recruit.
Doesn't look like much.
Neither do you, Charmy.
We understand why this game has its fans. It's all about the character creation. However, we all have to admit, even those of us who like the game ironically, we all have to admit that Sonic Forces is an utter disappointment. The story tries to be way too edgy with Sonic dying, as his friends are led to believe, only to ditch the grim outlook halfway through.
Sonic!
As for the player's custom character, their different weapons and tools make the game a total breeze to get through. Mixing all of this in with boring boss fights and bland level design makes for an utterly boring Sonic game, even when playing for the lulz.
Every defeat, every humiliation at the Hedgehog's hands will be returned 1,000-fold by my unstoppable creation.
Number 5, Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis. You just don't disrespect the original games. You just don't. But in the case of the original Sonic being ported to the GBA, yeah, we all deserved better. Even with the addition of a save system and the spin dash move from previous games. The game was a total disaster because of the technical limitations of the Game Boy Advance. This port suffered from awful optimization and frame rate issues, making the game unbearable to play. It was bad enough to hear butchered versions of the classic music. The terrible performance made this port unacceptable. Number 4, Sonic Free Riders. Kinect games already had a bad reputation with horrendous controls and dumb gimmicks. Sonic Riders, on the other hand, had a rough life with its jetboarding style and odd mechanics. So combine the two together, and how do you think they turn out? Far from decent. Sonic Freeriders saw some praise for its wealth of content, but does that really matter when your controls single-handedly destroy the experience? Controls are a pretty significant portion to focus on when developing a racing game, and when they respond not even half the time, as many critics pointed out, Sonic Freeriders had potential, but flopped way harder than anyone would have expected.
Yes! I'm number 1!
Number 3. Sonic Shuffle. When you go to copy a successful franchise, make sure you're actually copying the parts that made said franchise successful. For some reason, Sonic Shuffle forgot this important part of the plan when it tried to copy the Mario Party series in 2000.
I need to gather the pieces of the precious stone.
Hey guys!
Yeah! Let's do it!
Rather than keep it simple with moving on a board and competing in minigames, it added the use of card-stealing cards from other players, having to randomly select cards in order to move and do things, and the ability to go in whichever direction you want. There's no real strategy involved, just pure chaos, and not the fun kind.
The first precious stone is over here.
Number 2. Sonic the Hedgehog.
This will end it! It's no use!
Oh, you all knew it was coming. Only question was when. Yes, Sonic 06 used to be the worst ever game in the franchise, and rightfully so. How many of us remember the buffet of bugs and glitches uploaded to YouTube over the years?
What?
Or the ridiculous dialogue and voice acting that have created countless memes. And lest we forget about the weirdest kiss to ever happen in the history of video games. Ugh. Sonic 06 has been known to be one of the biggest disasters in gaming, but it somehow managed to get dethroned roughly 8 years after launch.
Come back. To me. To us.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric.
What just happened?
Rise of Lyric was just one confusing mess after another. Whether it was more broken than Sonic 06 is debatable, but one cannot ignore the catastrophe on display. Cutscenes were unpolished, showing character models in T-poses, and disappearing a few frames before the camera cuts away.
Check this out.
Frame rates drop at the most inopportune times, and several bugs were found that allowed players to skip large chunks of the game. The redesigns of the cast were one thing, but to launch a clearly unfinished game? Come on, man. The only success Sonic Boom seemed to generate was the Cartoon Network series, and even that didn't live long.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.